Chapter 5. Autosuggestion. The medium for influencing the subconscious mind. The third step toward riches. Autosuggestion is a term that applies to all suggestions and all self-administered stimuli that reach your mind through the five senses. Stated in another way, autosuggestion is self-suggestion. It is the way of communicating between that part of the mind where conscious thought takes place and that which serves as the seat of action for the subconscious mind. Through the dominating thoughts that you permit to remain in your conscious mind, it doesn't matter whether these thoughts are negative or positive, the principle of autosuggestion reaches the subconscious mind and influences it with these thoughts. Nature has built human beings so that we can have control over the material that reaches our subconscious mind through our five senses. However, this does not mean that we always exercise this control. In the great majority of instances, we do not exercise it, which explains why so many people go through life in poverty. Recall what I said about the subconscious mind resembling a fertile garden, in which weeds will grow if the seeds of more desirable crops are not sown. Autosuggestion is the way you may feed your subconscious on creative thoughts. Or you can, by neglecting it, permit thoughts of a destructive nature to find their way into this rich garden of the mind. Editor's comments. Numerous psychological studies and experiments with hypnotherapy have validated Napoleon Hill's concept that a person's subconscious mind retains everything that person ever experienced. Studies also support the theory that the subconscious is non-judgmental. It does not filter or interpret, it simply processes information literally and stores it. For those readers who may be dubious about the subconscious, or that thoughts stored below the level of consciousness can exert enough influence to affect attitude and behavior, the following explanation should alleviate any such doubts. There is no doubt about the existence of the conditions known by the psychological terms fixations, phobias, and compulsive behaviors. These conditions occur when a child has learned something in such a powerful or dramatic way that the knowledge becomes firmly planted in the child's subconscious mind. Then, even as the child grows to adulthood and the conscious mind learns to understand that information from a mature point of view, because the childhood learning experience was so powerful, the subconscious still retains the childhood understanding of the information. The result is a fixation, phobia, or compulsive behavior that causes a response rooted in childhood, which does not make logical sense to the adult's conscious mind. That is because it does not come from the conscious. It comes from the subconscious belief that was so emotionalized it overrides the adult's logical conscious mind. Hill's theory is based on exactly the same psychological principles. Thoughts do remain stored in the subconscious. They remain just as they were when they were input. And the more highly emotionalized the thoughts are when they are input, the more influence they exert on attitude and behavior. It is this aspect of the subconscious that will allow you to use autosuggestion as a tool with which to input the positive thoughts that will help you achieve the success you desire. This is the end of the editor's comments. See and feel money in your hands. You were instructed in the last of the 6 steps described in Chapter 3 on Desire to read aloud twice daily the written statement of your desire for money. You were also directed to see and feel yourself already in possession of the money. By following these instructions, you communicate the object of your desire directly to your subconscious mind in a spirit of absolute faith. Through repetition of this procedure, you will create thought habits that reinforce your efforts to transmute desire into its monetary equivalent. Read these steps again, very carefully, before you proceed further. 1. Fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It is not sufficient merely to say, "I want plenty of money." Be definite about the amount. 2. Determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. There is no such reality as something for nothing. 3. Establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. 4. Create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you are ready or not, to put this plan into action. 5. Now write it out. Write a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire, name the time limit for its acquisition, state what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. 6. Read your written statement aloud, twice daily. Read it once just before retiring at night, and read it once after arising in the morning. As you read, see and feel and believe yourself already in possession of the money. Remember, when reading aloud the statement of your desire, through which you will develop a money consciousness, that the mere reading of the words is of no consequence, unless you mix emotion or feeling with your words. Your subconscious mind recognizes and acts only upon thoughts that have been well mixed with emotion or feeling. This is a fact of such importance as to warrant repetition in practically every chapter. The lack of understanding of this is the main reason the majority of people who try to apply the principle of autosuggestion get no desirable results. Plain, unemotional words do not influence the subconscious mind. You will get no appreciable results until you learn to reach your subconscious mind with thoughts or spoken words that have been well emotionalized with belief. Do not become discouraged if you cannot control and direct your emotions the first time you try. Remember, there is no such possibility as something for nothing. You cannot cheat even if you desire to do so. The price of ability to influence your subconscious mind is persistence in applying the principles described here. You cannot develop the desired ability for a lower price. You, and you alone, must decide whether or not the reward, the money consciousness, is worth the price you must pay for it in effort. Your ability to use the principle of autosuggestion will depend very largely upon your capacity to concentrate on a given desire until that desire becomes a burning obsession. How to strengthen your powers of concentration. When you begin to carry out the instructions in the 6 steps, it will be necessary for you to make use of the principle of concentration. Following are suggestions for the effective use of concentration. When you begin the first of the 6 steps, which instructs you to fix in your own mind the exact amount of money you desire, close your eyes and hold your thoughts on that amount of money until you can actually see the physical appearance of the money. Do this at least once each day. As you go through these exercises, follow the instructions given in Chapter 4 on faith, and see yourself actually in possession of the money. Here is a most significant fact. The subconscious mind takes any orders given to it in a spirit of absolute faith and acts upon those orders. But the orders often have to be presented over and over again, repeated positive affirmation, before they are interpreted by the subconscious mind. Because of this, you might consider the possibility of playing a perfectly legitimate trick on your subconscious mind. Make it believe, because you believe it, that you must have the amount of money you are visualizing. Make it believe that this money is already awaiting your claim, so the subconscious mind must hand over to you practical plans for acquiring the money that is yours. Give this thought to your imagination, and see what your imagination can or will do to create practical plans for the accumulation of money through transmutation of your desire. Do not wait for a definite plan through which you will exchange services or merchandise in return for the money you are visualizing. Just start right now to see yourself in possession of the money, demanding, and expecting that your subconscious mind will hand over the plans you need. Be on the alert for these plans, and when they appear, put them into action immediately. When the plans appear, they will probably flash into your mind in the form of an inspiration or intuition from infinite intelligence. Treat it with respect and act upon it as soon as you receive it. In the 4th of the 6 steps, you are instructed to create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once to put this plan into action. Do the same thing here. Close your eyes and create in your mind a vivid image of you carrying out the instructions. Do not trust to your reason when creating your plan for accumulating money through the transmutation of desire. Your reasoning faculty may be lazy, and if you depend entirely upon it to serve you, it may disappoint you. When visualizing the money you intend to accumulate, see yourself rendering the service or delivering the merchandise you intend to give in return for this money. This is important. Editor's comments. The basic principle underlying autosuggestion is closely related to self-hypnosis, and both techniques played an important role in the development of modern psychology. Although all three concepts, autosuggestion, hypnosis, and psychology, had to overcome initial public skepticism, unfortunately, autosuggestion and hypnotism were hampered by events that further delayed their acceptance. Hypnosis was an integral part of the therapies used by the major figures in the development of psychology, including Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung, and William James. It fell out of favor as a therapeutic method when stage magicians began to use the technique in their acts. People found it difficult to give serious consideration to a method that was being used in theaters and nightclubs to make members of the audience do ridiculous things for comic effect. Autosuggestion encountered a similar problem. French psychiatrist Émile Coué was the best-known early advocate of autosuggestion. A contemporary of Sigmund Freud, Coué operated a clinic that treated patients diagnosed with psychosomatic ailments, individuals who have convinced themselves they are ill and even show symptoms but do not actually have a disease. Coué treated his patients with an autosuggestion technique that involved the repetition of statements he termed positive affirmations. Coué devised a general, non-specific phrase that would give the subconscious a positive instruction, but was open enough that it did not tell the subconscious how to do it. The positive affirmation was, "Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better." And he instructed his patients to repeat the phrase several times a day. Improvements among his patients happened so quickly and dramatically that his method became the talk of medical and scientific circles, and the use of the phrase practically became a movement in Europe. Word of the success Coué was having with his method spread to America, and he was soon booked to do a lecture tour. At one of his early speaking engagements, a cynical newspaper reporter made a joke of the technique, calling it, "Hell's bells, I'm well." The joke followed Coué wherever he spoke, and the press coverage was so negative he canceled his tour and returned to practice in Europe. Serious scientists and therapists continued to work with autosuggestion. But just as had happened when stage magicians cast doubt upon the efficacy of hypnosis, Coué's method of positive affirmation fell out of favor with the general public. It took the openness of the latter part of the 20th century before the techniques of hypnosis and autosuggestion gained general acceptance once again. Today, if you go on the Internet, there are over 40,000 web links featuring positive affirmations, and numerous bestsellers have been written on the subject. Virtually every newspaper, magazine, and television news program regularly features stories on the crucial role the mind plays in personal growth and achievement. Techniques based on autosuggestion have fostered countless best-selling books, audiobooks, and video programs. And every week thousands of people attend seminars, lectures, and retreats to be inspired by motivational speakers or spiritual leaders, and to learn techniques that will help them achieve success, almost all of which are based on the basic principles Napoleon Hill advocates in this book. When Hill instructs the reader to close your eyes and hold your thoughts on that amount of money until you can actually see the physical appearance of the money, he is in fact describing the autosuggestion technique most widely taught by contemporary motivational experts. Today it is called creative visualization, and it is regularly used by some of the most successful trainers of Olympic athletes and professional sports teams. It is used by NASA in training astronauts, and medical professionals use it in a variety of ways, including teaching it to patients who need to elevate their autoimmune system. Using visualization effectively is much more than simply daydreaming about something you would like to have or a goal you would like to achieve. Visualization is a specific technique that involves the use of imagination, creativity, vivid imagery, and affirmations, all focused on creating something you wish to manifest in reality. Napoleon Hill identified the practice of visualization and wrote about it as early as 1928 in his first bestseller, Law of Success. Since then, many other psychologists, medical professionals, motivational speakers, and authors have developed systems based on the same principles. Dr. Maxwell Maltz, a noted plastic surgeon, found that often it was as important for his patients to change their inner perception of themselves as it was to change their outer appearance. Dr. Maltz's landmark bestseller, Psycho-Cybernetics, draws heavily on visualization as a way to increase self-esteem and improve a wide range of abilities. The Silva method, which is another variation on visualization, has been taught to millions of people by certified Silva trainers who hold seminars throughout the country. Jose Silva's best-selling book, The Silva Mind Control Method, has also sold many millions of copies. In 1978, 50 years after Napoleon Hill wrote about visualization in Law of Success, Shakti Gawain published the phenomenal bestseller Creative Visualization, and Adelaide Bry published Visualization, Directing the Movies of Your Mind. At about the same time, Dr. O. Carl Simonton, an oncologist, concluded that cancer patients who used visualizations in conjunction with chemotherapy treatments had a marked improvement over those who didn't. His bestseller, Getting Well Again, had a profound impact, and it was followed by books from other respected medical professionals, such as Love, Medicine, and Miracles by Dr. Bernie Siegel, and Superimmunity by Dr. Paul Purcell. Other bestsellers by Dr. John Sarno, Dr. Deepak Chopra, and Dr. Andrew Weil have made what once was referred to as alternative medicine now part of mainstream medical practice. This is the end of the editor's comments. Stimulate your subconscious mind. The instructions given previously for the steps necessary in your desire for money will now be summarized and blended with the principles covered by this chapter, as follows. 1. Go to some quiet spot, preferably in bed at night, where you will not be disturbed or interrupted. Close your eyes and repeat aloud, so that you may hear your own words, the written statement of the amount of money you intend to accumulate. Be specific about the time limit for its accumulation, and a description of the service or merchandise you intend to give in return for the money. As you carry out these instructions, see yourself already in possession of the money. For example, suppose that you intend to accumulate $50,000 by the 1st of January, 5 years from now, and that you intend to give your personal services as a salesperson in return for the money. Your written statement of your purpose should be similar to the following. By the first day of January, I will have in my possession $50,000, which will come to me in various amounts from time to time during the interim. In return for this money, I will give the most efficient service of which I am capable. I will give the fullest possible quantity and the best possible quality of service as a salesperson of, and describe the service or merchandise you intend to sell. I believe that I will have this money in my possession. My faith is so strong that I can now see this money before my eyes. I can touch it with my hands. It is now awaiting transfer to me at the time and in the proportion that I deliver the service in return for it. I am awaiting a plan for getting this money, and I will follow that plan when it is received. 2. Repeat this program night and morning until you can see in your imagination the money you intend to accumulate. 3. Place a written copy of your statement where you can see it night and morning, and read it just before retiring and upon rising until it has been memorized. Editor's comments. The following is another suggestion, adapted from Hill's later writings, which appear in Napoleon Hill's Keys to Success. Surround yourself with books, pictures, mottos, and other suggestive devices. Pick things that symbolize and reinforce achievement and self-reliance. Constantly add to your collection, and move things to new places where you can see them in a different light and in association with different things. I had a friend who was a realtor who kept her $1 Million Club certificate over her desk to remind herself of what she was capable. One day she took it down to dust and set it on top of a newspaper. When she picked it up again, she saw beneath it an article about the new football coach who had been hired at the university. Guess who bought a house she had been struggling to sell? This is the end of the editor's comments. Remember, as you carry out these instructions, that you are applying the principle of autosuggestion for the purpose of giving orders to your subconscious mind. Remember also that your subconscious mind will act only upon instructions that are emotionalized and handed over to it with feeling. Faith is the strongest and most productive of the emotions. These instructions may at first seem abstract. Do not let this disturb you. Follow the instructions no matter how abstract or impractical they may appear to be. If you do as you have been instructed, in spirit as well as in act, the time will soon come when a whole new universe of power will unfold to you. Skepticism, in connection with all new ideas, is characteristic of all human beings. If you follow the instructions, your skepticism will soon be replaced by belief, and belief will become crystallized into absolute faith. Many philosophers have made the statement that man is the master of his own earthly destiny, but most of them have failed to say why he is the master. The reason that man may become the master of himself and of his environment is because he has the power to influence his own subconscious mind. The actual performance of transmuting desire into money is through autosuggestion. That is the principle by which you can reach and influence the subconscious mind. The other principles are simply tools with which to apply autosuggestion. Keep this thought in mind, and you will at all times be conscious of the important part the principle of autosuggestion is to play in your efforts to accumulate money through the methods described in this book. After you have read the entire book, come back to this chapter and follow in spirit and in action this instruction. Read the entire chapter aloud once every night until you become thoroughly convinced that the principle of autosuggestion is sound and that it will accomplish for you all that has been claimed for it. As you read, underscore with a pencil every sentence that impresses you. Follow the foregoing instruction to the letter, and it will open the way for a complete understanding and mastery of the principles of success. Every adversity, every failure, and every heartache carries with it the seed of an equivalent or a greater benefit.